So, hello everyone. Today we are going to recap what we did in our last class, culpable homicide and murder. So, what is a culpable homicide? बताओ तो क्या हो गया? चलो मैं बता देता हूँ. Whenever somebody causes someone else's death where there is a clear intention to cause death. तो सबसे पहला एलिमेंट आपका आ जाता है, there should be an intention. ठीक है? Then what else? There should be an intention to cause a bodily injury which may lead to death. वो ऐसी इंजरी है जिसकी वजह से आपकी डेथ हो रही है. Then, or you have the knowledge that the act you are doing is so dangerous that will amount to death. So, culpable homicide basically translates into an act which is blameworthy of accusing a person of killing another person. ठीक है? So, what differentiates culpable homicide and murder? Murder is basically an aggravated form of culpable homicide. हंसी आ रही है? ठीक, कोई बात नहीं, हंस लेना चाहिए. So, it is an aggravated form of culpable homicide. In this, the first component is you either have a clear-cut intention to cause death. Simple. A wants to kill B. A shoots a gun in B's head. So that is a clear-cut intention to kill him. Then there can be an intention to cause a particular injury which is known to cause death. So we discussed in the last class, suppose A knows that B is of weak heart and he goes on to punch B in the chest. That might not cause death to an ordinary man. But over here, B is facing heart problems that led to death of B due to that punch. So over here, A will be liable for murder. Then there is an intention to cause injury sufficient in the ordinary course. This means that whatever injury you are causing, irrespective of the intention, suppose A stabs a knife into B's abdomen and moves it around, which causes injury to his vital organs and leads to excessive bleeding, which ultimately causes B's death. Over here, A is liable for murder because even though A may claim that I did not want to kill this person, he still did an act which would cause injury that would lead to death inadvertently. ठीक है? Finally, the act is either extremely dangerous. Suppose A shoots into a crowded area. Over here, A might not have the intention to kill a specific person, but the act itself is imminently dangerous. Over here, A will be killing a person. A will be accused of murder. All right. But culpable homicide in some exceptions may not amount to murder. ठीक है, वो exceptions क्या है? First is grave and sudden provocation. किसी ने आपको इतना provoke कर दिया that you in retaliation hit that person which ultimately leads to death. In this, the provocation should not be sought voluntarily. The provocation should be sudden, immediate, and not linked to your previous conduct. So, over here, the first exception is grave and sudden provocation. Next is exceeding the right of private defense. Now, somebody hits you, you hit them back, but you beat them. Over here, what you are doing? You are exceeding your right, your proportionality of self-defense. In this case, you will not be liable for murder, but for culpable homicide not amounting to murder. So your exercise of self-defense can be limited to proportionality. Then we have third, public servant exceeding powers. Now suppose there is a public servant who is going on to arrest a person The person runs away from his custody. He shoots him in the leg, but due to some miscalculation on the accused part, he falls down and the bullet goes on to hit his main artery that is going into the heart. That has killed that person. Over here, the policeman was not required to use his gun or shoot a bullet. Then, in that case, he has exceeded his powers, exceeded what he was sent there for. So, in that case, that will be culpable homicide but not murder. Finally, we have sudden fight. Suppose you two people are in quarrel. ठीक है? Over here, does not matter who provoked who. The quarrel was going on for a long time and suddenly somebody hits the other person. In that case, the quarrel can be taken as a defense to protect a person from being liable for murder, but there shall be a culpable homicide charge. Finally, we have consent. This is a very specific case in which if a person is consenting to death and you are committing an act which has caused death. In that particular case, if the person who has died is above 18 years of age, the murder charge will be dropped. What you will be liable for is culpable homicide. Okay? So that's pretty much it. Now we'll start with the next class.